Hello friends, today I'm starting a new series of videos looking at the albums of Kate Bush, who is one of the UK's most original and creative artists. I'm going to be looking at her albums from the start, from 1978 through all of her albums, and rating each track out of 10, as I do with all of my reviews. Just a reminder of the rating system. Most of the tracks will get between an average of 4 up to very good. Occasionally a track will push on into 8s, 9s and 10s very rarely. I save those for just a few tracks, and some that disappoint go down to between 4 and 1. So let's get going. The Kick Inside came out in 1978. It was a UK number 3 album, and it was generally well received by the critics, AllMusic giving it 4 out of 5, Rolling Stone 3 out of 5. Now let me say that I don't know a lot about Kate Bush's music at the moment other than her well-known hits, although I have reviewed her collaboration with Elton John from her 50 Words for Snow album. So here we go with The Kick Inside. Track number 1 is Moving, Kate Bush's tribute to her mime teacher, celebrating the meaning of movement. The track starts with Whale Song and moves into this unusual, striking melody on the verse. And a memorable refrain with a second vocal on the harmony. And I particularly like the parts where she sings In My Soul. It's almost ethereal, the way she harmonises that. Very impressive indeed. I suppose, to be hypercritical, and this is a bit of an old man thing to say, but it is a bit hard to distinguish the vocals sometimes, what she's actually singing, the words. And we have to refer to the lyric sheet to get that. So other than that, though, I'm really impressed with this opening. I rate it as a good track, and we're going to give it 6 marks. Track 2 is a celebration of the saxophone, one of Kate's favourite instruments, and it's called the Saxophone Song. She loves this amazing instrument, which she thinks sounds like a female. This is set in a Berlin bar and celebrates the transforming effect this instrument has on her. It's moody and atmospheric. There's something special indeed, she says, about this instrument. She switches to a major key for a pleasant refrain. The production could be fairly primitive, I suppose, although it does have that live feeling about it. Fairly good for me. 5 marks. Track number 3 is Strange Phenomena. This is about the coincidences of life. For instance, if you think about somebody you haven't seen for a while, and then later that day you actually run into them, what is going on there? It's got this Sanskrit mantra in this, Om Mani Padme Hum, which means the jewel is in the lotus. So she's exploring different ways of explaining the meaning of life here, I think. We've got a catchy major key refrain here. And this is a fascinating exploration of this idea. There's lots of depth in this. It's a dramatic and interesting setting, which I like a lot. Now, with a lot of Kate's songs, when you hear them the first time, you think, well, what was that all about? I didn't quite catch that. What was that melody? I can't really remember it. But these do bear revisits to the songs over and over again, and you get a little bit more each time. So I'm impressed with how this album started. I'm going to rate this track as good, 6 marks. Track number 4 is Kite, and this is about a force that's pulling the character into the sky. And the character is drawn up. He flies, then he longs for his home. Now, maybe this is a metaphor for life. I don't know. It's quite strange. It's got kind of a reggae, upbeat feel to this one. Kate's voice is much more forward in the mix on this, much more prominent. There's some really crazy accompaniment in a way, and it does take quite a lot of listening to, but it's creative and it's intriguing, and I enjoy listening to this. I'm going to say fairly good, 5 marks. Now, not many of us when we were 13 were writing songs, but Kate Bush was, and she wrote what became track number 5 here, The Man with the Child in His Eyes. It's been covered by a lot of artists, including Dusty Springfield and Natalie Cole. It's kind of addressing the idea that most men are sort of little boys inside. They've still got this innocence about them. They retain this magic. This is kind of searching for security, that maybe she's exploring the idea that females are looking for their fathers for security. It's a gentle, reflective lyric. It's an absolutely beautiful melody and harmony. It draws us in. It's got this lovely orchestral backing. In a way, it's very simply sung, but that's all it needs because it's so beautiful and so deep. I'm going to rate this on my list here as a brilliant track. I'm going to give it 9 out of 10. Now, what can one say about track number 6, Wuthering Heights? It's so well known, it probably doesn't need me to comment much about this. We know it's based on Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte. We know this is a sort of gothic novel that lots of people have enjoyed for a long time. It's so dramatic in its character and in its setting. This song is about the character Catherine Earnshaw, and it's from her point of view at Heathcliff's window. She's coming back from beyond the grave. Maybe she's in purgatory trying to get back to Heathcliff. So this was a UK #1, as we know. This got to sort of set the scene for Kate Bush's career, and deservedly so. It's got this distinctive keyboard. It's got this great atmosphere in the storytelling, this sense of mystery, and it draws us into this book, and it makes us want to read the book, actually. And it's a fantastic book, of course. So what can one say? It's brilliant. It's original. It's 9 out of 10. Now flip over to side 2 if you're on vinyl, and you've got James and the Cold Gun, which appears to have a kind of a cowboy theme to this one. So you've got a lyric on this about the big brass bed, which is a little bit evocative of Bob Dylan's Lay Lady Lay, isn't it? Are you selling your soul to a cold gun? How impressive are you with this? We've got this sort of rhythmic piano opening, a bit of a kind of a random lyric, this one. It's a curious sort of upbeat rocker. It's certainly quirky, it's certainly entertaining, and it's got this delightful slow ending. Probably going to take quite a bit of listening, this one, actually. You may have to give it a few goes. I'm still getting into it, but I'm saying it's fairly good. I'm going to rate it as 5. Track number 8 is Feel It, and this is about a woman who is looking forward to enjoying a relationship with a man. We've got this piano accompaniment only, this one. Almost reminds me of a Joni Mitchell type of song. And again, a brilliant artist, Joni Mitchell, does unusual things with melody. You're not quite sure where it's going sometimes, but you enjoy the fact that she's gone there with it. We say it's certainly not predictable songwriting. Nobody else can share this, says Kate in this lyric. It could be love or it could be just lust. So again, interesting debate being explored there. It takes a few listens, but it's certainly passionate and a heartfelt ballad. Not easy to sing along to, but not every song is on the first or second listen. I reckon it's good. 6 marks. Track 9 is Oh to Be in Love, and it's kind of exploring the idea of fate bringing two people together in a relationship. The refrain here is really engaging. It's simple, but with exciting improvisation from Kate on it. The music break maybe is perhaps not quite as exciting as it could be, but it's creative, and this is actually a very listen-toable song, if there's such a word. It's a pleasant listen with a slight sort of ethereal tone to it. I reckon this is good. Going to give it 6. Track number 10 is L'Amour Looks Something Like You. Now, perhaps not one of the standout tracks from the album, but we've still got this gorgeous vocal from Kate on this one. It seems to be about a moment of love. There's some interesting imagery in this. Again, there's so much to find in Kate's lyrics, I've noticed, and you can go back to them again and again and to almost regard them as poetry, and then the sort of music is just a bonus on top of that. So it's an interesting one, maybe not a standout, but still fairly good for me. 5 marks. Now, for a first album, Kate is really looking at some big topics on here. None more so than on Them Heavy People, which is track number 11. This touches on religious teachings, touches on the very meaning of life. We've got Jesus and we've got Gurdjieff, the Russian philosopher, on here. We've got this idea of learning while you are young. And Kate Bush apparently said, it's like a hymn to me when I sing it. She's feeling it's like a hymn, she's exploring these deep meanings in it. We've got a rhythmic verse, a kind of a reggae rhythm going on there, and a catchy refrain. They opened doorways that I thought were shut forever. This is all about what life is all about in a way. Does she reach any conclusions on this? Is she a reluctant learner, or is she actually enjoying the challenge? So that's kind of the thing going on here. Again, a good track for me. Lots to explore here. 6. The next track, 12, is Room for the Life. This, of course, sort of explores Kate's views of womanhood and coming out with the idea that, you know, they were built tough. Women were built tough because they've got a lot of things to put up with in life, especially childbearing, of course. But she also kind of hinting that, you know, we need our partners as well in this. We were built tough because we're women. We never die for long. So there's a defiant message in this one. It's an outrageous, curious, unusual melody, I find, but it does draw you in. The refrain's got a good catchiness as well. So again, it's another one track that you're going to come back to again and again and find different layers in it and enjoy it. So fairly good for me, 5 marks. Now, the closing track is the title track, The Kick Inside, and this was inspired by a folk song which is about an incestuous relationship between a brother and a sister. The woman becomes pregnant and then takes her own life. So, pretty typical sort of folk song content in a way. There's usually a death in there somewhere, and Kate explores this in a very moving song. This kicking here inside makes me leave you behind. So she's become pregnant and now she's taken this drastic and tragic step. So it's a shocking subject, but you know, Kate is not holding back in exploring these kind of topics. The strong piano in this, it's a very unpredictable but nevertheless fascinating melody. Some synth backing coming in there as well. There's a lot to this track and I shall certainly be going back to it. I'm going to rate it as very good and give it 7 marks. So side 1 gets 40 marks altogether. Side 2 also gets 40 marks, giving us a total of 80 marks for 13 songs. That's an average of 6.15 per track. Now, if you look at my grading system, that's telling you that the average track on this is between good and very good, and that's a pretty good start for your first album there. So this is a good album as far as I'm concerned. So with 6.15 marks per track, this is showing that this album is between good and very good. So that's a pretty promising start, isn't it? I've really enjoyed getting into this album and listening to it a lot. Now, regular viewers will know that I will be coming back with comparisons with all the other albums and also a league table on a spreadsheet of all of Kate Bush's tracks and my favourites at the top. What's your favourite track on here? What do you think about the album? And what do you think about Kate Bush as an artist? I'll be back with more reviews soon. Thanks for watching.